It's Friday afternoon, which means it's time for your favorite comedy talk show, The Random Kristian Show. Today, The Random Kristian Show is interviewing TV host, comedy magician, and motivational speaker, Tom Coverly. The Random Kristian Show is brought to you by Mrs. A's Famous Salsa Buena. Just visit Mrs. A Famous for recipes and where to find it near you. The Random Kristian Show is proudly supported by Colonel James Neal Broaddus as the advisor. This group is a great resource and network for creatives. Find the advisor on Facebook today. Intro music provided by the Dead Campers. Check them out on Spotify or at deadcampers.com. Go to Creative Coatings KC to get your logo and brand on all sorts of promotional products. Now, safely back in his home studio after escaping Watertown, South Dakota, Kristian Random.
Oh, it's so true.
It
is so true. And it's good to be back. Yes.
Boom.
I have no earbuddies in my mouth.
No.
I walked out. I did not return. They did not welcome me back. And
You made it. You made it.
Yes.
You did it. I'm so proud of you.
The trick is to leave at night and sit in an airport for 7 hours before then. Just
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
because then they go, okay, now he's just weirding us out. He's got to go.
Right.
Have him come back for you can check out and you can not ever return. So man, okay, we are time crunched because our guest Tom Coverly, this guy's amazing, and he's on tour and he's got a super tight schedule, so we tried to jump on a little early, but anyway, so we're very excited to have him. Andy, how's the Pacific Northwest?
Everybody's doing great. The sun is shining. All is well.
The sun is shining, so you're not in Oregon.
Right. No, everybody's scared of the big ball of fire in the sky. That's what's happening right now.
There's some weird freaking thing, man. I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's Pacific Northwest weather out here in Kansas City. So, yeah. So we've just basically, we are still in the twilight zone.
Right. Yeah.
Just flip weather patterns. No, very, very, very excited. We got Tom Coverly, illusionist, public speaker, or a motivational speaker, not public speaker, I guess.
Well, he motivationally speaks in public, so that counts.
I was gonna say it's
Yeah.
Hey, we're twinsies today. I'm excited. I'm just excited because we got Tom Coverly, and he's okay.
Yeah.
Should we just get into it?
Let's get him in. Let's get him in. Let's get the man in.
Because we got no time. Holy Moses, that's coming through hot. Yeah, we got no time at all.
Well, no, we've got no time.
Yeah, we got no time.
That was a good
time.
Great segue to the music.
Great segue, but
great segue.
Great
to the music.
To bring in this guy.
Hey.
Tom,
there I am.
Hold on, now you're in the wrong. There. Now you're.
All right, redo the magic trick. Boom.
Yeah.
There I am.
The reveal. That was a great reveal.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, man, we are just kind of over the top with having you on here. I know you are crunched for time, so let's just get straight into it. Tom Coverly started out. Now, let me ask you this. How did you start out? Did you start out as a magician? Did you start as a comedian? Did you start out public speaking? Where was your where did this all form from?
Yeah, like the whole chicken before the egg or the egg before the chicken. Or...
I was going to say, because one really leads into the other one way.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
The magic. That's...
Yeah. Well, I didn't really do magic tricks as a kid a whole lot. Like I might have done a card trick or two, right? Or maybe a coin trick, pulling something out of someone's ear, you know?
Or you do the old thumb bit.
Yeah, right? Yeah. The stuff that kids would have, right? The little
Right.
kid tricks or a little magic kid or something like that.
Or mildly mentally challenged old men. So
That's it. Perfect. Yeah. That's why we're hanging out together tonight, right? So yeah, I was doing magic tricks, just kind of, I didn't get into it until I was actually in college. A professor of mine did magic tricks, and him and he was always entertaining me with some stuff. And he said, man, there's a magic shop in downtown Scranton, Pennsylvania. Why don't you come with me? And I said, there's a store with just magic tricks. And so he said, yeah, come along. So I went with him to the magic shop, and the guy behind the counter was performing, doing some tricks, and it just blew my mind. I was hooked. And so I started buying like small little tricks, and I started buying more expensive illusions. And before you knew it, here I was doing, as I'm going through college, I was doing like little kid birthday parties and
No
to
way.
help pay for college,
well,
just doing, go ahead, what?
no, I'm just
Yeah, yeah. So I was doing these tricks and just helping pay for college. And so it was in my youth pastor years. I was youth pastor for a little bit. I was entertaining kids at the lunch table, just middle school, high school kids, just making them laugh at the table, and then inviting them out to youth group. And then so that's how from there it unfolded into the speaking world and everything that I'm doing now.
wow. And all right. So your choice. I know when you were younger and you started speaking poetry, you used to have a bit of a stutter, right?
I did. When I would get really nervous, I would stutter and I would shake a whole lot. So I was that guy. Like if I was holding a piece of paper doing a presentation, I was shaking really really bad, super super nervous. The stutter would get really bad the more being in front of people. So I would like when if I was in high school, there were classes. When you had to get up in front of your peers and give a speech. I
Yeah.
was that guy that would rather cut class even if it meant several days in a row, so that I didn't have to give the presentation in front of everybody. And
Yeah.
then sometimes it takes a day or two, maybe even 3 days for everybody to do their presentation, right? Each day that you meet.
Yeah.
Well, I knew, all right, we're doing presentations till Friday. So I'm going to skip all week until Friday. And then by Monday, she's like, hey, I have to give you a 0 because you didn't give your presentation. I would rather take that 0 than get up in front of people talking. It just was not my expertise.
So
So
what switched it? What was the light switch to able to get you turned on in front of
Yeah.
people and be comfortable?
So when I went off to college, I continued that horrible way of not being able to deliver anything in front of people. I had a preaching class. It was a Bible college. I had a preaching class, and the professor pulled me to the side, and he wasn't trying to be mean. He was
Right.
literally trying to say it in the nicest way possible, but he was trying to steer me in a different direction. If you're
Mhm.
trying to say basically, hey, listen, this speaking thing may not be your thing.
Yeah.
So maybe you should consider something else. And you know what that did? That made me want to be a better speaker. So back in the day, we didn't, I didn't have internet to go hop on and learn how to be a good speaker. For a
Right.
guy that don't like to read a whole lot, I was forced to go down to the library and start pulling out books. Of course, I don't think we called it like motivational speaking then. It might have been like public speaking or
yeah,
giving speeches or whatever, right? I was
Yeah.
reading every book I can on giving good speeches. And then from there, I start just taking extra classes. And I was paying for college myself. I was
Oh,
taking
wow.
extra speech classes, preaching classes, everything that I could, every opportunity to get in front of people. And my whole goal was I was going to prove this professor wrong. I
yeah.
wanted to be a better speaker on that campus than any person on that campus. Not in some like arrogant way, but it was a matter of I was told that I can't do stuff for so long that I was like, no, I'm gonna prove you wrong, man. I'm gonna do this thing. So
Yeah.
here I was taking extra classes. I remember even showing up to nursing homes, and I would ask if I could preach in nursing homes, and you got like grandpa half asleep, like I'm preaching away as everybody's snoring. Yeah, but I took every opportunity because it was, to me, I wanted to be in front of people. And
Yeah.
so I got to the point where looking back now, speaking to, nearly or just over 5 million people to date,
Yeah.
I pinch myself to this day going, how
Yeah.
did this all unfold? You took a kid that, would stutter, would shake. It's not that I don't get nervous doing things, but I've just learned how to take care of a lot of those different things.
And now
Sure.
is that just a natural thing for? I mean, you've always just kind of just attacked it when you're told no. Well, let me find a way. I mean,
Always,
yeah, that's okay.
always,
Yeah.
Yeah.
always. I'm a, you know, if someone is kind of counts you out of something, I'm gonna make them look back and go, oh man, we shouldn't have counted them out,
Uh,
right?
our
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Sorry about that,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah. And I get that drive from my mom and dad. My mom and dad are just, they're not quitters,
Yeah.
they go all in. And it's, like I said, it's not in any, arrogant way. It's just,
No, it's
it's,
called hard work and
yeah,
putting
it's hard work and
yourself.
grind, and you want to succeed, right? Who doesn't want to succeed? No one sits and wakes up every morning, goes to their job or whatever it is, right, in life, their hobbies or the things that they're trying to be good at, and go, "Hey, I can't wait to fail today, and I
Right.
can't wait to be really bad at this today."
Well,
Right.
You
Yeah.
kind of do.
I could argue that
Yeah.
if you've ever been to Watertown, you would know.
Now,
No,
That is
trust me,
great.
Watertown people love you. I'm sorry. It's
right.
the
Now,
beautiful.
was there one speech in particular that when you got finished, you were just like, oh man, that felt good.
Yeah, you know what speech that was for me was, I guess this is jumping ahead in the story a little bit, but after youth pastoring, we can go back on that a little bit. But
Okay.
I start speaking, and I've been doing it now for nearly 2 decades, doing what I'm doing now full time.
Yeah.
But the first phone call I ever got was from Atlanta Festival. It was up on Stone Mountain, a huge
Oh,
Christian music festival,
Yeah.
and I think it's still around. It's not as big as it used to be. I don't know the details. I've not been there in a lot of years, but that was the first Christian festival that I got asked to speak at. And I remember someone calling me and saying, "Hey, we just got a tape, back when you were sending
Yeah.
tapes. We just got a tape of you speaking, and we're looking for another speaker. Right now we have Nick Vujicic. Nick is the guy with Born with No Arms, No Legs.
Oh, right.
Just incredible Christian speaker, awesome guy. They had William Paul Young that wrote The Shack, and they had Mark Hall from Casting Crowns was going to be speaking. And they
oh,
said, "We're looking for one more speaker. Will you speak?" And I remember taking the phone and going, "Yeah, let me pray about that." Yeah, 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 I'll do that. So I
hold
say
that.
all that, right? So I say that to say that when I got up and spoke, it was the first time in front of a crowd that large, right? And
Yeah.
so, I mean, you're talking thousands of
I was gonna say
people.
that's a few thousand people right there.
Yeah, you're talking a lot of people. And the speech just, when you're doing stuff so much, you can compare apples to apples, right? And so
Yeah.
that was one of those talks that I gave that just, I look back and I go, man, like I did pretty good. Like God carried me through. And then besides all of that, like there were a ton of lives changed. So God was
Yeah.
just moving and doing incredible things at that show.
That's
Wow.
great.
Okay. So now, okay, and let's start backtracking a little bit. You and I'm sorry. I actually made some notes, Andy. So don't
That's fine. You're allowed, Chris.
no judging. I normally don't make notes, but you have got so much going on, dude. Okay. So and
I
now this
love it.
you got a now. Did you grow up in a faith based family, or did that just kind of evolve later in your life, or?
It did. I was actually the first person in my family to surrender my life over to the Lord. I was invited out to a youth group event and never been to church before. To be honest, the only reason I went is because this lady kept inviting us, and my mom kept saying, "No, I don't want my kids going off to church or whatever. And then she said, all right, you know what? Go ahead and ask them. And so she asked, and I said, well, there are going to be girls there.
Yeah, I was
You
gonna say.
know, I'm a middle school student, right? And so I'm like, are there going to be girls at this event? She said, yeah. And I'm like, I'm going to church.
Right.
Church. Oh
I
yeah.
am going. So I went to church, but it was the first time I ever saw a Bible before in my whole life. It was the first time I've been inside of a church building. And it was the first time as the pastor got up, he began sharing the gospel and he said, Jesus Christ. And let me just tell you, I leaned next to this guy that I just met. Why I'm sitting next to a guy when I came for the girls, I don't know.
Right.
But I'm sitting next to this guy and I said, man, I don't know anything about church, but you can't swear in church. That guy just swore. He said, Jesus Christ, you can't say that. And he started laughing like you're laughing. And he goes, man, listen in on this. He goes, no, that's not a curse word. He's like, that's God's son. And I go, God has a kid? Like, this blew my mind. Like, how does God, who I only heard of God at that point in my life, I
Right.
didn't know anything about God, but I'm going, all right, like God has a kid. This stuff sounds, pretty far out there. So I had a lot of questions, to say the least. Talked to that youth pastor afterwards. And make a long story short, surrender my life to the Lord that night. I go home, I tell my parents, and my mom and dad are like, don't talk to us about that stuff. And I didn't even know how to pray. I just remember going, God, I want my family to get to know you like I got to know you tonight. Talk to you later, man. You know what I mean? I didn't end my
Yeah.
prayers in Jesus' name, amen. Or I didn't know what to say, like, talk to you later, and God heard the prayer of this middle school kid. And my mom, at the end of the week, it was like a week-long thing. It was like vacation Bible school during the day, and then at
Yeah.
night there was stuff for teenagers. So it went all week long. My mom came out to the closing program, and my mom surrendered her life to Christ. Then my three other brothers did, and then my dad, who just passed recently. My dad, who was type of man that most people would look at and go, yeah, that guy will probably never want anything to do with God. And my dad started to see some changes in my family's life, and my dad surrendered his life over to the Lord. And my parents became my biggest prayer warriors, for our ministry and everything we're doing. My mom's also my biggest Facebook stalker, so be nice online and in the comments, everybody. But yeah, I came to Christ and then just watched what God did from there in my family's life.
Dude, that's awesome. That is beautiful.
God's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, again, I know there's a debate about this, and I've been using the term magician, but you're an illusionist, okay? Just, I mean, and now you do that. You perform in churches and stuff, and I know public schools and things like that. One, do you get flack? Well, one, and this is a two part, I guess. One for being in church doing magic because
Yeah.
it's the art of deception, which we know who the master of deception is.
Hmm.
And then in public schools, are you talking faith in public schools, and do you get a lot of slack for that?
I do not. I do not mention anything about my faith in the schools. I don't even hint around about it.
Okay.
People that pray for our ministry know my faith is the biggest part of my whole life,
Yeah.
right? And so
Mhm.
it's my biggest driving factor. It's why I continue to do what I do. I feel that's what God's called me to do, or I would have quit a long time ago. Because road life and doing this is not as extravagant and amazing as people think sometimes, right? It's a very it's a lonely life. That's why I travel with my wife, and my wife's my tour manager, and we homeschool our little girl, our 13-year-old, and we hit the road full time. But that
Right.
means sometimes you're not always back at your church life and home
Yeah.
life. You're away from your friends. You don't so it's difficult, right? It's not believe me, there's a lot of fun to travel and doing all the cool things, but it's also a very hard and difficult life. And now I'm trying to go back to your question, and I'm trying to circle back to it. And I'm trying go ahead and ask again.
Okay. Well, you answered the talking about in public schools, but now being comedian, magician, or illusionist, when you're performing in churches, are you're doing
Mm.
your illusions, to use the safe word, which, by the way, during our show, the safe word is pineapple. Just to clarify,
Yeah.
there's
All
we go
right.
online, just yell pineapple. We know to stop and back.
That is perfect. I
Um,
like it.
but because again, magic or illusions are the art of deception. Do you get? I mean, there's hardcore Christians out there. I know they've got to complain.
Yeah, listen, I don't do events at their churches. That's what it comes down to.
Right.
They
Yeah.
don't even call me to book. Some of those churches won't call and book me just because I got a few tattoos, right?
Right.
So and so I went to a very, I don't even like to use the word conservative, but I went to a Bible college, let's just say, where me even learning how to do magic tricks, I had my Bible professor was doing magic tricks. And when he
Right.
taught me, I remember buying like this deck of cards, right? It was like a trick deck of cards. And I remember practicing in my room with the door locked because I'm like, I'm going to get in trouble for having a deck of cards, because the deck of cards to
It's
that circle that I was in was associated with gambling,
Sure.
like, hey, like just evil stuff. So I was like trying to learn. And then when my RA would come around, I'd start practicing card tricks with the Uno cards because that was okay,
Right.
right? But
Yeah.
not the playing cards. So, but people, you know what it is? Sometimes it's not that people get wrapped up into just, maybe it's their knowledge of knowing that the word magic in the Bible that was mentioned was, first of all, if you look back, it's magic with a K,
Hmm.
not magic with a C. And so magic with a K, when it was talked about in the Bible, were people who were sorcerers and like, wizard type stuff, and trying to even claim they have these powers and that kind of stuff. It had nothing to do with like your little kid like trying to entertain you with a card trick, right? Or a coin
right,
trick
right.
or anything like that. But somehow the two have, because of the lack of knowledge that people might have in that, they get bent out of shape thinking, all right, you're trying to deceive people. But I look at it this way. I use deception to talk about deception. I make it very clear in all my shows that everything you see that I do is sleight of hand, it's misdirection, and a lot of wasted years of practice, all right, to be
Right.
able to pull off these stunts. I have no magical abilities whatsoever.
Yeah.
Zero. To be
Yeah.
honest, I wish I did. If I did, I would want to learn how to fly. You guys with me on that and want to
Oh
learn how to
yeah.
fly? Get
Oh
over
no, for
some
sure.
traffic. That would be nice, right?
Yeah.
How about being invisible? Like being invisible would be cool. I would take that magic and
Uh,
power.
I've seen too many Invisible Man movies
All right,
where
all right, all right.
where it always gets him in trouble, and
yeah.
it's just like it seems like, like I've felt invisible at points during my life, but I
I
would
hear
never
you.
ever
I
want
hear
to
you.
be
I got you.
invisible. Yeah.
Listen, parents want that power all the time. They're like, give me that one. I'll take
Oh
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
I'll take
Oh
the
yeah.
invisible power.
Right. Yeah.
But no,
Put it
listen,
down.
yeah, right. There's no difference even between magic and illusion, magician and illusion, right?
Yeah.
There's no difference. I like to use the word illusion, illusionist in the
It's a
faith-based
song.
circles just to avoid the whole magic term. But
Yeah.
there's no real big difference. When I was in college, I actually got named the Illusionist. And
Oh,
so that was just a nickname from some of my
there goes
friends who I was entertaining. And that was way before the Illusionist movie even came out. So
Yeah.
I
yeah. Way
had
ahead.
my thumb on that name a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah. Ah,
Lawsuit pending. Right.
trademark.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I should have got a royalty from that movie. It would have been great. It's a great movie, by the way.
Yeah.
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 Okay. So, dude, we got so much I'm trying to cram in here. First off, let's just go. Let's go through all the all you've accomplished, bro. Because I mean,
That's good.
it is a list that's going to take up half the show.
Oh man.
Uh, I mean, seriously, you're one of the top 10 uh, positive. I'm trying to make sure I'm saying this right. Top 10 positive people in America, voted by LA Weekly.
Mhm.
You've been nominated most positive social media influencer by Cheer of the Year Awards. Now they just did the nominations, right?
They did. Now, let me clarify. I didn't win the award, but I was in the top 5.
Right. Yeah, you were. Yeah.
A few
Okay.
years in a row, I was in the top 5
But I mean, dude, that's still. I mean,
Yeah.
out of
top
millions of
five.
nominations. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, literally millions. And being a independent podcast, we just hit number one after 4 years. So
Yeah.
I know how huge that is for you because there's
Love it.
bazillions of podcasts. So, okay. We're now you speak really everywhere as a motivational speaker. You've spoken to celebrities, you've spoken to corporations. Let's go through some of these corporates. You've got Warner Brothers, McDonald's Corporation, Gerber, Sprint, Burger King. I mean, okay, now okay. Have you ever been asked to speak at Disney?
I have not. I have not.
Shocker,
Yeah, I am not.
because they're the devil. Yeah, I mean,
Well, it is the Magic Kingdom, right?
That is true. That is
oh,
true. I think that has to do with animals over
There's-
there, but
Right.
rim shot that one. Dadgummit. Oh, good call, Andrew. Dang.
yeah, Magic Kingdom. I like that.
Now, have you? I'm sorry. I'm trying to fit so much in. This is why I shouldn't ever take notes.
No, it's all good, man.
Okay. You're trying to make sure I word these things correctly. You've gotten you all these corporate events. I mean, and you're not bringing up faith in them. I understand that because they're big public corporations and stuff like that. What are you? I know you talk about bullying. I know you talk about just being the best person you can be, and you talk about being the best employee you can be. How is that? And I know you probably can't say too much because that's what you get booked for.
Yeah.
But how allude into us what being the best employee can be.
Yeah, when I do corporate events, they'll bring me in and I'll entertain them. But then everybody in their jobs, right? I think that when you talk about being a good employee, because a corporation might bring me out talk to their employees, or they might talk and say, hey, can you come out and talk to our leadership, whoever it might be. And we all have room to grow, right, and improve. And it gives me a chance to come in, entertain them with some illusions, but then that just gets them laughing and having a good time. But then I talk about the illusions and lies they might be believing about their job.
Yeah.
Now, I do every kind of corporate event you can imagine, and I don't know stuff about half of these corporations, but I can still talk about, it doesn't matter what line of work it is, whether they're a blue collar or they're wearing a suit and tie, right? It doesn't matter, that we can all improve and be better human beings.
Yeah.
And it gives me a chance to talk about some of those illusions or lies they might believe about their own job or their own life. And so it gives me that opportunity to dig into their home life. Because if you talk about home life a little bit, and if I could fix home life even this much of just reminding people to be good fathers, good husbands, good wives, good whatever it is, right? If I can fix home life this little bit, it literally affects the workplace.
Right.
So I talk about home life. I talk about just the people that we're rubbing shoulders with, because home life, I even ask students this. I'll ask students in a school setting, even like, how many of you have ever had your teacher come to school? They're in a really bad mood. They're really upset. And you're like, man, what is wrong with them today? What a jerk, right? And so all the hands go up in the air immediately, right? The
Yeah.
students are raising their hand. Yeah, that's my teacher. And then I look at the teachers like, I can't even believe you guys have bad days. Like, this is awful. Like, how dare you, right? But we all do. And we
Yeah.
all sometimes hurting people hurt people. And when you're hurting, you take it out on the people that you love or you care about or the people that you're most comfortable with sometimes. And so
Right.
even in a school setting, it gives me a chance to remind students that, hey, your teachers are in this journey of life together too. And if I had a chance to like take the microphone and I could walk up to say, Andy, if you're teaching, and I'll walk up to Andy, the math teacher, right, in
Right.
school, there in the bleachers, I'll walk over to him and I'll say, hey, Andy, if I gave you 1 minute to share your biggest heartache, your deepest pains, the things that maybe bring tears down your eye when nobody else is looking, like if I gave you a chance to share some of your heartache moments of life you're going through presently, what would that be? And I'm like,
Yeah.
don't worry about it. I'm not going to ask you to do that,
Yeah.
right? But if I
Oh,
pass that,
Well,
the
Tom.
teacher always gets scared when I say that. But
Yeah.
if I could pass around that microphone to every single teacher or every single, take it back to the corporate event, every single employee, it would change the way that we treat one another. It
Yeah.
would literally change the way we treat each other because when we know one another's stories, there might be people that you work with and you're like, man, I can't stand that person. They're so mean sometimes, or man, why are they overreacting like that? Or
Yeah.
we never know what's going on in people's lives. And I could sit and share so many stories. We all can, right? Of times where we realize, man, am I glad I didn't overreact because I found out that's what they're going through. That's why they were responding that way. And it's not an
Yeah.
excuse or a license for us to treat people horribly, but it's a fact that we're not perfect. And when we're going through stuff, we kind of take it out on other people. So when I begin to focus on those things in a workplace, it starts to change the work environment. And I even talk about, my favorite comedy hero of all time is no longer with us, Mr. Robin Williams.
I was gonna say
Oh yeah.
Robin Williams.
Yeah, miss that guy, right? And
Yeah.
so, but Robin was so good at hiding behind the what? His smile.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
so good at it, and his laughter was infectious and contagious and just everything about him in that positive way, right? And people, I know he was dealing with some physical issues, but people had no idea behind that smile was a guy that was struggling and hurting so bad.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, what if everybody would come across someone going through their worst days and just treat them even more awful, right? Because we have a tendency to treat bad with more bad, right? And that's why we have this vicious cycle of negativity. It takes people, especially us as believers, right, to go, man, I got to respond to people the way that Jesus would respond to them. And when
Yeah.
we do that, it changes everything. And so it'll change the way that you look at your fellow employees, the people you work with, the people you're sitting in class with at school, whatever that might be.
It,
And that's my focus when I
Yeah.
do corporate events or anything else. And going back to the school thing, I do want to say this, like, people that pray for our ministry know that I'm speaking truth in the schools. I just tell people all the time, I can't quote the author.
yeah.
I
There
can't.
you
I
go.
can't say who the author is. I'm talking about love. I'm
Yeah.
talking about grace. I'm
Yeah.
talking about forgiveness. I'm talking about the fruits of the spirit and the way that we should be and treat one another. When you do those things, that's the spirit of God that's even moving in a school
Mm,
building.
Yeah.
Because I look up at the bleachers and there's some giant jock guy, right, on the football team, and he's doing one of these numbers,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that's the spirit of God changing that young man's life, man, right now, because I'm
dude.
talking about home life and
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see that all the time too, man. And like even when I've been at church, and all of a sudden, like the pastor hits that one note, and I mean he's talking about full on story. He's not talking. He's not even preaching anymore. He's just sharing his life, and all of a sudden he's just okay. Get
Yeah.
to the point, man.
yeah, yeah,
And but it breaks people down, man,
it
But it
because
does
just,
it.
that
yeah.
honesty, that realness hits them inside, and they go, right there, and then the Holy Spirit starts jumping in, and
Yeah.
It's
boom,
truth, the
And it
voice
just,
of truth.
yep,
right. And it just takes that one line of connection too, and it's different for everybody, which is crazy too, is that, what works for someone to get them to connect is something completely different.
Mm.
A great a great Robin Williams story is this just came out on HBO, but it was Super/Man, the Christopher Reeve story. I don't know if you saw this, but
I have not seen it yet.
So it's a documentary about everything that Christopher Reeves dealt with, the actor who played Superman. I had no idea he was roommates with Robin Williams at Juilliard.
No
And
way. Wow.
when Christopher Reeve went through his accident, the one person that came to the hospital that started to help him through it, aside from his wife and his family, Robin Williams.
Yeah.
No way. Wow.
Yeah.
They're very close.
And Robin was literally part of the glue that helped him get realize that his life wasn't over, that there was more for him to do, which is just, it was incredible. And to see that and realize that Robin Williams was dealing with his own demons, but still had enough in him to help his friend through it, is just, it's makes you appreciate the kind of person that Robin Williams was.
He was an incredible human being. And I think what happens is a lot of times is we all do, right? We all believe the illusions and lies about life. And sometimes we just need reminders. So the magic show has just been a great way. Like I said, it's a tool, right? To talk about the illusion and lie people might believe, and Robin Williams, or it doesn't matter if it's a student who's being bullied, they believe the illusion and lie that nobody would miss me if I was gone, right?
Right.
Otherwise, people don't go to that level. That's one of the biggest lies people believe, is no one cares about me, right?
Yeah.
Well, truth and reality is, and I always tell people, just combat whatever lie you hear someone tell, combat it with truth and reality. Truth and reality is, I'll remind a kid that says that in a school setting, hey, like, who cares about you a whole lot? Like, who calls you, like, looks after you, is always wondering what you're doing? Oh, my grandma, I love my grandma. And I'm like, well, your grandma would miss you. And then it's sometimes it's like a light bulb that goes off. Like, man, I can't give up on this gift called life because my grandma would miss me. But yet, seconds ago, they were believing the lie, nobody would miss me, right? We throw out these matter of fact terms, right? And so I just remind people of truth and reality. And it is always amazing that people recognize truth, because if people saw Tom Coverly, or they saw Christian or Andy, they would see a sinner, a mess up. But the fact that they recognize truth is straight from God, because that has nothing to do with any of us.
Right.
We're just speaking God's truth. And when you speak God's truth, it changes lives. That's why my wife has witnessed this many times, where it could be a principal, a teacher, a student, and I'll hear it all the time. Even at a corporate event, they'll come up and they will say, can I ask you a question? Are you a believer, or are you a Christian, or whatever term, right, they're throwing out and using. And it's, to me, that's flattering, not for me because I'm a sinner, but the fact that it's flattering that God is speaking through me and giving me the words, even in a section where I'm not standing up on stage and going, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus,
right.
And you guys need Jesus. I just share truth. And when you share God's truth of love and grace and forgiveness, and like I said, the fruits of the Spirit, it changes people's lives.
Yeah. And that's exactly what they're hearing. And what you guys are hearing on the audio version of this is Tom Coverly, illusionist, comedian, and public speaker, God-fearing man. And I didn't know that you had done preaching. So you were a youth pastor for how many years?
I was a youth pastor for 12 years.
Wow. So
and
around.
That's what I was doing. I was loving it. But here was the thing, since I didn't grow up in the church, right? I always had a heart for the down and outer. I always had a heart for the people that didn't know Jesus. I always had a heart for the guy over there that's all tatted up and looks like he wants to murder everybody around him, right? It just, the people that most people look at and judge are the people that I've always gravitated to, and that I love, because I've always seen their heart, because it just felt like for so many years, no one ever saw this heart. They only saw maybe this punk city kid, before I came to Jesus or whatever it is, right? And so,
Well, you see through the front.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I got to a point after a dozen years of youth pastoring that I went to some pastor friends of mine and I said, man, God's called me not to be a pastor or be a youth pastor. That was never the calling of my life. The calling of my life from day one, when I went off to camp for the very first time, and a preacher got up there and he said, hey, who loves Jesus? And I remember my hand going up with a lot of my friends around me. And he said, if you love Jesus and you're not willing to use whatever talents God gave you to serve Jesus, then who in your life's going to do it? Who in your generation's going to do it? And it clicked. And I remember getting on my knees and crying out to God and saying, God, I don't have many talents. But God, whatever it is I have, because at that time, magic wasn't in the picture. I couldn't
Yeah.
speak. All the things that I'm doing now, I weren't in the picture or I totally stunk at. So in a million years, I wasn't thinking ahead, right? So I
Yeah.
remember going, God, whatever talents I got at that time, it was just sports. And I'm like, God, just use it, right? I just want
Yeah.
to tell people about Jesus the rest of my life. I want people to know that Jesus is no illusion. He is no curse word. He's my life giver, and he changes my life and he changes other people's lives. And so I went to my pastor friends and I said, pray about what it is I should do. I feel like God's called me outside the four walls of this church.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge local church supporter, but for me, I was like, man, I always had that evangelistic heart. So much so, I had one church I was a part of that was like, hey, you, in so many words, you need to get those kids out of here because they're going to corrupt our good kids, right?
Oh.
Oh, geez.
That kind of mentality. And I'm like, man, that is not the heart of Jesus. You're missing it. You're missing it.
Yeah.
I was
And
going to say, 'cause who
so,
did Jesus hang out with? Prostitutes,
yes,
sinners, criminals.
yep, yep.
Nowadays, crackheads. It don't matter.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Yep.
And,
That's who he would have been hanging out with and just pouring love on them. He
yep.
wouldn't walk around and go, yo, I'm Jesus and you need
Sup?
me. No, yeah, yeah. He went and poured love on people and just, it changes people, right? And so it's one of those things I asked, hey, can you pray? And he came back to me after a dozen years of youth pastoring and he said, man, I think I know what God wants you to do. And I said, lay it on me. And he goes, man, you're a great communicator of the word of God. And he goes, and then two, he goes, his exact words, he said, you have this stupid talent doing magic tricks and making people laugh. And he goes, I think you should tie the two together for a ministry. And I said, Bill, that is the corniest idea I have ever heard. That is so corny.
Yeah.
And the reason I thought it was corny is because anybody that did magic tricks in the church were usually like a kid's youth or a kid's pastor working with the little kids and they're doing an object lesson, right? It would be like if this was black, guys, this silk is black and it represents your sin. And poof, it's white
Yeah.
as snow. And you're like,
Here we go.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So boom, it's on the floor.
Yeah.
It's white as snow. And so it was very object lessony, right? And that
Right.
Yeah.
wasn't my style of doing magic. I was loving magic tricks, card tricks, coin tricks, borrowing everyday objects. I would go into schools, entertain kids at lunchtime, and then invite them out to youth group. Like that, magic was just a hobby of mine at the
Yeah.
time. And so when he said that, I was like, man, I love teenagers, college kids, and I love adults. They're my favorite age groups, like the little kids, God bless the children's workers, right? That was like
Yeah. Right.
they can have the little kids. I'll take teenagers and above. So I
Yeah.
thought the style of magic that I did, I'm like, man, it's not object lessony. It doesn't fit that because it just was one of those things that was where I saw Christians using any kind of magic tricks in ministry. And so I thought, how is this even going to work? This is so corny. And so he said, man, you asked me to pray, and I think you should put together a website and watch what God does. And
Yeah.
fellas, this is the pat God on the back, 1000%. Zero credit to me because, again, I thought it was a corny idea. But in that first year, I was in 38 states speaking and
Wow.
performing in year
Ooh,
one.
That's incredible.
God
wow.
exploded the doors wide open. That was 18 years ago, and I've been doing it full time since.
So all that time doing all this, and I know that we're creeping up on time here. So but uh what is that one success story that has gotten back to you that made you
Mm,
stop and say, man, this is it. This is this is why I'm here.
mm,
This is what I'm
mm,
doing. What's
mm.
that one success story?
Yeah. To lead into that, let me just share this. The
Okay.
schools weren't always part of the picture, right? I was doing church outreach events. Churches would bring me in, and I would then do my full show. My style wasn't like I'm gonna give little like devotional talks in between magic tricks.
Right.
No,
Right.
I'm gonna get there, and for an hour I'm gonna entertain you. We're gonna
Yeah.
have a good time. So say your church brought me out, like that's what I would be doing. I'm gonna entertain you for the hour. And then I'm going to transition into saying, look, everything you just saw is an illusion, right? It's not
Yeah.
real, right? It's like this cap and me taking and putting it over there, and it's not there, right? It's really over here. So it just sleight of hand and misdirection and all these things. There's no powers involved in it. But let me share something that is real. Let me share how Jesus Christ has changed my life. I
Right.
don't have to stand up before people, get super preachy and go, you're a sinner and you need Jesus. I just talk about how I'm the sinner and
Yeah.
how I needed Jesus and how Jesus changed my life and my mom's life and my dad's life and my brother's lives. And my whole goal is that people will be more blown away by who Jesus is than a stupid magic trick they just saw on
Right.
stage.
Yeah.
And so
Because that's
going back
what
to,
real magic is.
yeah, so going back to your question, schools weren't always in the picture. I had a gentleman, John Hewlett. He's a really good friend of mine. John is a couple decades older than I am. And John at the time saw what I was doing. I didn't know John very well. And he said, have you ever thought about doing schools? He was a believer. And he
Uh-huh.
said, have you ever thought about doing schools? And I said, John, I don't want to do schools, man. I want to tell people about Jesus the rest of my life, through this. And he said, no, I applaud that. And you could still do that. And he goes, I said, but I'm not going to share Jesus in the school. We can't do that. And he's like, you're right. We're not going to do that. At the time, bullying prevention was huge, right? It
Yeah.
was something that was states were having to put bullying prevention policies in place in their
Right.
schools. And so he said, come up with a bullying prevention assembly. And I did. And he said, give me 2 weeks. I'm going to get you into schools during the day. And then at nighttime, I'm going to connect with local churches. We're going to invite the students, the parents, the community, everybody back at nighttime. You could put on the full show and then end up sharing the gospel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fell in love with that. I
Yeah.
fell
Yeah. That's
in
beautiful.
love with that formula. People that would never step foot in church were coming out to see me at nighttime to
Yeah.
come see a full show. And it's not like we tricked them into it. They knew it was at a church event,
Yeah.
or at a church. And so we would invite them out. And like I said, I didn't have to get preachy with it. I just shared my story. And we
Yeah.
were literally watching, over the years, tens of thousands of people surrendering their life to Jesus at these outreach events.
Yeah.
So I took the long detour route to get back to your
No,
question,
that's great. That's great.
But
because it's important for people to know why I do that formula, right? In the school,
Yeah.
no, I can't share Jesus. At church event, I can at night. I
Yeah.
had a young lady come up to me. She was in high school, and she's sobbing after the assembly. And she said, the only reason I came to school today is because I wanted to secretly say goodbye to my friends. My friends have no idea that I already wrote a suicide letter last night and I'm going to end my life right after school. And she said, I'm bullied so bad that I've believed every illusion, every lie to everybody. I've allowed other people to define me.
wow.
Yeah.
She said, I believed every lie, so much so that I don't have a purpose in this life. I started to believe the lie that nobody would miss me and no one cares if I'm gone. And she said, but being in this assembly, I had no idea that there was going to be an assembly today. And you talked about bullying, you talked about mental health, you talked about these things. And she said, Tom, I now realize I have a purpose. I
Oh,
now realize that people would miss me. I'm
man.
getting chills, and I've told this so many times. Like,
Yeah.
and just
I
because
was
I
gonna
just
say,
picture
dude, I'm
this
getting
young lady's
goosebumps.
face right in front of me, sharing this with tears rolling down her eyes of a different countenance, where she was like, I want to live. I got a purpose,
Yeah.
and I'm those people don't define me. You're right. I am perfect the way that I am, and so I said, listen, tonight I'm doing an event. It was actually back at the high school. It was going to be in the auditorium, but it was rented out by the church.
Uh-huh.
Several churches in the area got together to rent out the high school auditorium. And I said, why don't you come back tonight and see the full show? She came back with her mom, and that mom, I keep grabbing tissues over here.
Yeah.
It's a good demonstration, but that mom had that suicide letter in her hand, crumbled up.
Oh, wow.
And she gave me a hug that I will never forget the rest of my life. And as she's hugging me and sobbing, I could barely, she's trying to talk, but I could barely understand anything she's saying.
Yeah.
But finally, as she starts to compose herself, she just said, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because if you weren't in the school today, I know that my daughter would not be here. That was before the assembly started.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the evening event started. At
Uh-huh.
the end, mom and that young lady surrendered their lives to Jesus Christ, man. And
Dude,
so,
Wow.
uh,
all God, right? So it just
Man.
to answer your question, that that will make you want to keep going, right? That will make you want
Yeah,
to
a
keep
little bit.
speaking truth. Yeah,
A little bit. Yeah.
yeah,
My goodness.
yeah. And I could
dude.
share one story. We could literally, I could sit on here and I could share story after story
Yeah.
after story just like that. It's been unbelievable what God has done.
Well, then we're gonna have to bring you back.
Let's do it.
All right. So, hey, for everybody on the audio version, we got Tom Coverly. Um, what doesn't he do?
Yeah.
No, he's out on tour right now. Now you're just starting your tour tomorrow, correct?
I'm heading back out on the second half of my
Oh,
spring
okay.
tour.
All right.
Yep. So I was gone all winter, first half of the spring. Now I'm heading back out on my second half of spring tour.
Okay. And to find out where and when and how and why, go to Tom Coverly, COVERLY.com. Just Google it. If you type in Tom Coverly, it's going to bring up everything. It's going to bring up so many amazing stories and I mean, I I barely grazed anything. I was just like, oh my gosh, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, oh my gosh. I mean, and again, how I found you was just by chance. You popped into my
Love it.
YouTube feed, I think, and I was just blown away. Just hearing you speak and having fun. My favorite one was the memorizing the book page, and you're sitting there and you're reading word for word, and this girl's like, yes, and you're just and you're holding the book in front of you. You're like, so this word right here, and she's like, uh-huh, yeah, that's right, yeah, uh-huh. It wasn't even clicking, and
No.
I was just laughing so
Yeah.
hard, dude.
Because the audience thinks they're in on that trick, right? The
Right,
audience sees me pull out. We're back to back. I'm back to back with the person, and the
yeah,
audience sees me pull out a duplicate book,
yeah,
right? And so they assume the entire time I'm just reading from it. They're laughing, and every time I turn around, I'm using my book to point right in front of the pages on her book, and she doesn't see it. And then when she finally catches on, I let her look through my book, and it's completely blank.
completely blank.
So the whole time
It
we're
was
skipping through the book,
so
I'm quoting
awesome.
stuff from the book, and the book is completely blank. It's a hilarious trick to perform.
It
Yeah.
was a great illusion. Yes.
It's fun.
But okay, so and now you're doing your show, you're doing your public speaking all through this tour. Now, are some of them private events that people won't be able to attend, or How does it
Yeah,
all
it's
work?
always a mix, right? Like I'm doing some events for Margaritaville coming up. Margaritaville has retirement communities.
Hmm.
So I'm doing Hilton Head, South Carolina, Daytona Beach. I'm doing Panama City Beach has Margaritaville. But they have theaters. Sometimes they open it up to the public, sometimes since it's a private community. So there
Yeah,
are always events like that. School assemblies, I list on my website, but outsiders can't attend school assemblies, especially in today's day and age with
yeah.
all the policies and protecting our kids, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, there's a lot of times I do family events, but it's always listed on the website, whether it's public or private.
Awesome. Okay. And yeah, again, we're running short on time, so yeah, we're gonna have to bring it back when we can spend a little more time with you and get deeper into some of this. I mean, seriously, there's just so much, and you do such an amazing job, bro. I mean, seriously, it's just it's almost frustrating because there's so much I want to talk with you about,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you do such an amazing job, brother. And
I
I just
appreciate
God
it.
bless you for all that you're doing out there. Um, we've got
Thank you.
we've got a few minutes here, and no, not you. I don't want you. I want this. That guy. Yeah, he's loosing the Raptors again.
I see
We got
it.
a little it's our little magic trick that we like to play. We've got a little game we like to play with our new guests, and it's called Random Questions of Insanity. It's a simple little, I guess Andy describes it best as a Rorschach test. We just delve into your psyche. No right or wrong answers. It's just a lot of fun, and
All right, I'm on. I'm game. I'm game ready.
I was gonna I was gonna say because you don't really have a choice in the matter, so you're gonna play. Uh,
I
so
love it.
let's go ahead and let's get into it. We have two base questions. I think he'll be a
I
yeah,
think they'll apply. Yeah.
yeah, I think they'll be pretty good for both of you here.
I'm open. I'm good.
So, some people have been really hit or miss with some of these. Okay, so our first one is what is the best James Bond film?
Mm.
Dun, 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 dun.
I'm not a huge James Bond fan, but
Okay.
I don't hate James Bond, but it's been, I mean, you're talking, I haven't seen any recent stuff. So
Okay.
Okay.
I'd have to go back to childhood, and I don't remember the names of all
No,
those.
that's an acceptable answer. It's hit or miss with that. So
Yeah, I enjoy watching every time I do, but I've not watched any of the recent.
okay.
Yeah,
All
there
right.
it is. There's your answer. All right. So, then I'm not going into the subgenre of that question.
Yeah.
The next one, I know you're going to have a great answer for this. What is your favorite sandwich and what all is on it?
Listen, I'm an East Coast guy, even though I live in Florida now.
Here it comes.
I grew up in the Northeast and New
Oh,
Jersey and Philadelphia area. So anytime you give me a good cheesesteak, man, I'm game on all the way. What's on it? Man, you got your cheesesteak, you got your nice roll, you gotta have some onions on it. I'd prefer some, it doesn't matter. It just depends who does it, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take if the onions are cooked in it. I'll take it if they're raw in it, doesn't matter. Put some lettuce on there or just a tad bit of ketchup and some mayo. I'm good.
Really?
I'm
All right.
good.
Ketchup.
Give me the
You're
best
the
Just a
cheesesteak.
little
first
bit.
guy I've known
Yeah.
from the East that has mentioned ketchup on their Philly.
Yeah, just a little
Serious.
bit. Not a whole
Yeah.
lot.
What's
Not
and
a
what's
whole
the
lot.
best?
Mm.
Where's the best place to get a cheesesteak?
Listen, everybody fights over Pat's and Geno's and those kind of places. There's actually a place that I like to go to on South Street in Philly called oh my goodness, it's been a lot of years. It's Jim's or something like that.
Okay.
Jim. It
All
might
right.
be Jimmy's. I don't
Yeah.
even know. It's been
Okay.
a lot. I know where to find it. I
Right.
just never remember the
Drive you
name
there,
of it.
no problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me, it's not Pat's or Geno's. It's some of the little hole in the wall places that are not some of the big name ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
But now listen, I am gluten free, so I can't even enjoy the roll anymore. I'm an
Oh.
Italian that can't
Oh.
eat pastas and breads anymore. Like that's an awful disease to be given an Italian. That is not even
Sure.
right. There's something so wrong with that.
Yeah.
So now when I have a cheesesteak, I have to have a cheesesteak on a bed of lettuce. So instead of getting it on the cheesesteak, I
Oh.
just have a whole bunch of lettuce shredded up, and then we put the cheesesteak right on top of the lettuce, and I eat it with a fork. And it's just
There's
not
some
the
good
same.
gluten-free bread out there, I will say. So you may want to look into that. But
Yeah, I'm looking into it. Some of it, it's coming a long way. It's getting
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and pastas too. Anyway. All right, Andy, hit him with the next question. We're running out of time.
Yeah. What was your favorite toy growing up?
Yeah, listen, I'm a sports guy, so I remember having that little electronic game, but it was green,
Oh yeah. No, the
and you
football.
played football,
Yep.
and when you would throw it, it was like a little line,
Yep.
Yeah.
and you would see it go
Mattel
beep,
football.
beep, 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 and then
Oh
your
yeah.
receiver would catch it, and your receiver was just a little block, and you're like running like little spots, and then you
Oh
like
yeah.
you juke them by like moving to the left 3 and then moving forward.
Right.
But that was like, that thing was in my hand. I went through, I don't think we have rechargeable batteries. I don't remember rechargeable batteries back then, but
No.
I remember going through a lot of batteries with
Yeah.
that thing.
Yep. That's great. That's awesome.
Nope. That's yeah, Mattel electronic football. Oh my gosh. So many of those I broke from going.
Yeah, I loved it. It was the best we had.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. You have only one food to eat. What is it?
I'm eating crab legs, bro. I'm eating crab legs. I live in Florida. I grew up, like I said, in New Jersey. So going to the boardwalks and
Yep.
give me some crab legs, and the crab legs are in heaven. I'm just declaring it in Jesus' name right now.
But they're already cracked and ready to eat.
Well, you know what? For me, I know people don't like doing it. For me, that's part of the process, because I've bought crab meat that's like just clumps of crab meat, and I'm in it with a fork, and I get tired of it fast.
So it's
I
the
would
challenge
rather
of cracking the
take
shell.
my time, crack it open, suck that meat out of the shell.
See, I just get hungrier doing it. It's like, oh, this is taking too long.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, but it is. So, I grew up near San Francisco. You go to Pier 39, get the steam. Oh my gosh, with fresh sour bread and
so good.
Oh, clam chowder. Oh my gosh, now I'm all hungry. All right, Andy, let's get a couple more in real quick.
Yeah, you have to disconnect from everything and just stop. Where do you go? Where's your happy place?
I'm going to sit on the beach.
Yeah,
hands down.
Yeah,
no one. I mean, listen. If everything shuts down, I'm going on the beach, and I'm just going to enjoy. If there's no one around, that's cool. If there's people around, I love people watching. So I'll just sit on the beach and watch people walk by all day. And because that's when you find out God has a sense of humor, because he made all of this.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Oh, yes. I'm not even going to expound on that.
Mm-hmm. Beautifully and wonderfully made, he says.
Yeah.
And sometimes wonderfully funny made.
Yes, exactly.
Look at the platypus. All right. Where'd it go? Number one bucket list item.
Number one bucket list item. Man, I've checked a lot of things off my bucket list, so I keep adding to it. The next thing for me is go to Italy. I've not been to Italy. It's not that I haven't had the chance, or it just is not my biggest priority, but I would love to do it. I'm Italian, so I want to go back to my Sicily roots and head over there and probably enjoy pizza. I hear that I can go and enjoy pizza and pastas, and gluten thing's not even going to be an issue over there. So just
because
to even
you're in
eat
Italy,
would be nice.
It's part of the culture.
Yeah.
It's good for you over there.
We might have 300 ingredients in our pasta, and they got like 4 over there, you know?
Right. Andy,
exaggerating
with another one.
What's that one song on your playlist that people would be surprised that's on your playlist?
They would be surprised that I even have music on my playlist. I don't listen to music.
Really?
Well, let me take it back. In the car, I don't mind listening to music, but you will. There is no music on this phone. There is no music that I will listen to on any device. The only time I listen to music is if we're in the car and we're going down the road, and even that, if that's when my wife and my daughter are in the car.
Sure.
But if it's just me, I'd rather be listening to podcasts or
Okay.
speakers or it's no one even specific. I don't even have any favorites. I love listening to talk radio. I stay awake more on the road that way.
Sure.
Mm.
Okay.
So yeah, they'd be surprised that I have music. Let's just put it
Yeah.
that way.
Okay. Good answer.
So then I guess what would be the podcast that they would hear coming out of your show?
Yeah, it would probably be the Random Kristian Show.
There
I
you
mean,
go. We're gonna clip that and quote you if you don't mind on that.
That is it. Yep, use it. There you go.
I'm a shameless self promoter, so I had to.
Joe Rogan, who?
But, right? He's a putz.
Yeah,
right.
I love Joe Rogan.
Quality or quantity?
Oh, depends what you're talking about, though. Really,
Yeah.
honestly, because that can apply different to so many things.
Yeah, but if you had to choose one way or the other,
I would have to go with quality.
Yep.
I'm quality. Do stuff top notch. I'm so tired of. I'm gonna get on a little rant here. I'll do it in 10 seconds or less. But we can watch the world do a lot of great things just for the sake of entertainment. Do stuff top notch. But then when it comes to doing stuff for Jesus, we like half do stuff. We don't want to pour our funds into stuff, and we need to do that. All right, that was
I'll
longer
read
than
the
10
Bible
seconds. But go ahead.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do stuff quality and top notch for Jesus, man, all the way.
Okay, we got time for just a few more here. Danny, one more?
You're good. You're good.
Yeah. Your food is bad at a restaurant. Do you say anything?
Oh, I'm saying stuff, and my wife hates it. I'm saying something, and I'm saying it so that I can get that free meal. No, I'm kidding. I know I'm saying it because usually the only time I do that is when it comes to, first of all, if there's a hair in my food.
Oh, dude.
I have bad eyes, and I can notice a hair a mile away in my food. For some reason, I like examine my food before I even take a bite of it. So I'm looking through it thoroughly. Number two is the only time I will complain is when it's a steak, and rarely does any place ever get a steak right.
Yeah.
And so if it's overcooked, I'm telling them because I'm not going to gnaw on a well done piece of steak, man. I don't want it mooing either. I love medium. If someone can land medium perfectly, perfect for me. I don't care if it's even, as long as it don't look really red on the rare side, I'm good. It could be medium rare. I'm good with that. Well done.
Hey,
I don't want to
come out here to Kansas City. I'll cook you grass-fed steak.
I'll take it.
I got the place, and I used to work as a chef, so I got the skills.
I can't wait. I love steak, so it's got to be cooked right.
Oh man, and Green Grass Cattle Company out here. All right, so he asked the food question, and as a man who has entertained the cast of Batman versus Superman, I have to ask this question. Who wins in a fight? Iron Man or Batman?
I appreciate, the people that are watching this live. We're watching the hint that I was supposed to say. The people that are listening to the recording have no idea Kristian is throwing hints out there how much he doesn't like Batman.
Oh, they know. Listen to one or two of these shows, they know.
That is it. No, I'm a Batman fan, man. I love
and
Batman.
that is the right answer.
Yeah, I love Batman, man. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. See, Andy knows Jesus. You'll come around, Kristian. Lord, pray for your salvation in that. I don't know how salvation and Batman tie in together, but it just did.
Yeah, well, and we've actually come to a compromise of the Iron Bat. So
Yeah, and anybody listening to this is not us trying to put out new doctrine. We're not
No.
trying to do that.
Yeah.
no, God, no.
This is us being silly.
All right, one more quick one, Andy.
Oh, yeah. Would you rather have 10 hobbies or one passion?
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with one passion, man, because
Okay.
I can't. I like simple, man. I
Yeah.
like simplicity, and too many hobbies. I already feel like I don't get enough sleep because I have too
Sure.
many things to do in a day. So give me one big thing, I'm good.
Yeah.
Right on. Nope.
Excellent.
Excellent answer. Okay. You got 30 seconds to tell the world something. What is it?
Yo, listen, just be you. We live in a world where everybody's trying to be somebody else, right? It don't matter if, you know, you're an author, you're a speaker, you're a podcaster, whatever it is, or just a stay-at-home mom, or we're always comparing, right? Social media hasn't helped us with that, right? We live in
Right.
this highlight reel of life. You
Right.
know, everybody sees our best and our, our best pictures and our most edited photos and our, I went to the beach with my kids and I took them, but you're not talking about how like you yelled at your kids the whole way there, right? It just all you see is what a wonderful trip that was, and you're like, no, we argued the whole way to the beach,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and my kid
This was when
whined
we
and he
first
cried,
left. Yeah.
right? So just listen, be you. We have to believers, it is time for us to stop falling for the world's stuff, right? This
Yeah.
stuff where
Mhm.
we have to be everybody else. Be who Jesus created you to be, who God, your creator, created you to be. And that is good enough because you guys are good at stuff that I'm not good at, and vice versa, right? And just the people listening at home, we all have different talents and gifts and ability and love for things. And if we can learn to just be us, but what happens sometimes, even in that, we're like, all right, well, I'm a magician and I'm a speaker. So we compare ourselves to other magicians or other speakers or other podcasters or other stay at home moms that we see on social media. And like, look at all the cool things that mom is doing. And I'm not getting to do those things. And live your life, be you, be who God created you to be. He made no mistake in that. And it might be rough for someone listening right now. It might be totally rough where they're going, man, I'm not enjoying this stage of my life right now. God has you right where He wants you, and
Mhm.
He's going to grow you through that. And we all have, right? We all can reflect back on things in our life where we're like, I'll never make it through this. We
Yeah.
believe that lie, that illusion, and God carried us through it, and He's going to
Right.
do it again. He'll do it
Dude.
again and again and again.
Yep. Beautiful. Nope. That's, oh my God. That was a perfect way to end this.
Tom,
Tom,
your energy's infectious, man.
I
It really,
well, because you have a live audience, it just
yeah.
claps, so that's why it's
Right.
easy to be
Yeah.
infectious.
But no, man, it comes across so well. I can tell
Appreciate it, man.
why you're so good at what you do.
Thank you.
And man, thank you so much for hanging in with us today. You were, I mean, you are incredible. What you do is amazing. And man, just keep it up. Keep up the great work, man. You're incredible.
yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Seriously, dude.
Seriously, this has been a joy. So let's bounce back and do it again sometime and dig deeper. And if you guys will have me, I'd be honored to come on back. But
Oh,
thank you for the kind words and really appreciate it.
you
That's
are so
awesome.
welcome, and thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. Get back out there, get on tour. When you get close to Kansas City, hit me up,
I'm
man.
eating steak, bro. We're coming.
Dude,
I'm
we're
coming. I'm
cooking.
inviting.
It's gonna happen, my man. So appreciate it. Get out there, go see him. Tom Coverly,
Appreciate you all.
illusionist, comedian, public speaker. He's out there. Find him. Go to tomcoverly.com, and we will see you later, my friend. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. You are
Appreciate you guys. God bless.
Take care, Tom. Be well.
Peace out, brother. All right, and why can't I make him? There he goes. All right, there he is. Oh man, I do see. Oh,
I know
I knew we were gonna need more
too
time.
short. It's our show's too. Our show's too short. We need more of Tom.
Yeah, we do. We need the Tom Coverly hours.
All right. Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, what a great,
dude, I
what a
knew
great guy. Like
I knew it was gonna be good. I knew it was
to
gonna.
fall. I mean, to fall into sort of speaking the way he did. and just wanting to get better at it, and then combine how he found God and how he found Jesus, and to just meld that all together
And
into
then
what
bring
he's doing.
his parents and family into it, and
Just incredible. What a great story, huh?
dude, and I mean, uh, I did a little like I said, I did a little grazing. I heard some of the stories he's talked about, kids coming up after him, and it was just like Russ Tuttle. Remember Russ?
Yeah.
Who does the stop trafficking thing? How kids come up to him and talk to him about what's happening, and how they're hearing similar stories, and how he was, it sounded like they were speaking right to him. That's what he's doing, and to get out there and do that with our youth, that's what they need nowadays, because they feel so just cut off from everyone and everything.
Yeah.
They need people like Tom. They need to hear people like Tom, who open their eyes and open their ears and open their hearts. And it's just absolutely amazing. I'm just so glad he's out there, and I'm hoping he's coming out this way, or even if he gets close, I'm gonna do what I can to go out there and meet him, because
gotta get that steak right.
Oh, dude, I got that skill.
Yeah.
All right. So, we will definitely be bringing Tom back. Again, TomCoverly.com, COVERLY.com. Tom is just TOM, but go check him out. Find out where he's going to be at near you, and go and if anything, just go through some of the stuff he's got on his page, and some of the things he's on all the social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. He's all over, so you guys can find him anywhere and see what he does. He does just some great stuff. Not only just entertaining, but great, powerful messages as well. So go find Tom Coverly at TomCoverly.com. All right, so now back to us and the show and what we do besides talk with people. We like to have fun.
Right.
And well, I mean, we had a lot of fun with Tom. I'm not gonna.
We did. Yeah.
But it's over now.
Yeah.
And I'm already feeling sad because he's not here.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like things are going wrong now. And I'm gonna have to go see one of his shows just to get back up out of it.
Yeah. Do you need a minute?
No, I'm good. Okay.
All right. Okay. All right.
And we're back.
Because you know what makes me feel happy?
What makes you feel happy, Andy? Besides
Mrs. A's famous salsa.
Oh, see, I'm already feeling good now.
See?
Yeah. You know why? Because I'm thinking of that delicious salsa like you find in the refrigerated section at your local store.
Yeah.
That says Mrs. A's famous salsa buena. Right now, there's still three, just the three flavors. We've got
the
medium, the amazing salsa verde, and then the hot.
The hot.
And the hot isn't too hot, so no, it's delicious. Andy even ate some of the hot. So,
right. And I am not a hot salsa person.
No.
I am a mild salsa person.
Yes. And it's they're all just amazingly delicious. And plus, you can make out with your wife or husband or boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever.
Right.
There's no onions. There's no onions. And it is amazingly delicious. Incredibly fresh ingredients are brought in, put together, and this has been the delay in the spread. Right now, you can find it from the West Coast to the Rocky Mountains, because they're trying to make sure they perfect their preservation without putting a bunch of chemicals in it, so they can ship it across the U.S. And actually, they're looking into another plant out in the Midwest.
Ooh.
To make it there so they can ship it, fresh further. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, and then they're bringing back two favorites. Oh, that's right.
Can't wait.
Pineapple mango.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
And red delicious. I remembered.
You did. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, bro. I'm very interested in the red delicious, by the way. I'm not a huge fruity salsa person, but from everything I've heard, this is going to be amazing. So I can, which I mean, it's Mrs. A's. So
right.
it's going to be delicious.
Yeah.
You find it again, West Coast to the Rocky Mountains. Find it in your refrigerated section. If you can't find it, ask your grocer for it. Go to mrsafamous.com. That's not Mrs. A's, just mrsafamous.com. Okay. And you can find out wherever they're at, plus all her amazing recipes that she cooks on the show here, which we're going to have her back on here, I think in June is what we're looking at right now. And she's going to be cooking up some delicious food for us, some summertime foods, things to maybe throw on the grill or something like that. So we'll have her and Roth on here, and we'll have her cook up some amazing food that we won't be able to eat or taste, but we know it's delicious.
Yep.
But all her recipes right there for you, so you don't have to go buying some fancy cookbook. And the great thing is, and I think we've said it before, is super easy ingredients, super stuff you can find usually in your cupboards. Besides the Mrs. A famous salsa, that's you have to go get. You'll have to get that.
Right.
But other than that, it's all right there, and it's good, fast, quick, easy. You don't got to be super chef to put it all together. So anyway, mrsafamous.com. Go find it. Mrs. A's Famous Salsa Buena. Our proud sponsor. Well, they may be proud. We don't know. But they sponsor us, and she's nice to us. So that's what counts. All right. So there. Now that's out of the way. What else we got? What do we got going on?
Well, so Kristian, I have we normally do the random 9 list. But
I knew something was missing.
Yeah, but I was talking with our research team that normally puts this together, and they learned some weird what?
Our research team. You were talking to your son and his friends.
That's correct. Yeah. But they are our random 9 research team.
Research team.
But they were asking me a bunch of these weird questions of these like everyday things that you're supposed to know the name of, but I didn't know the name of these things. So I'm going to ask you what you think the names of these things are. Okay.
Intro music for that, but we don't have.
Yeah. And what the hell is this? First question might be easy.
Okay. I just
semi-appropriate. All right. First question might be easy, but
hold on, got my pen.
Okay. The first question.
I'm ready. What's the foam at the top of? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were in.
No. Yeah. What's the foam at the top of beer called?
The head?
People do refer to it as the head, but there is an official name.
Tiny bubbles.
Tiny bubbles. I was shocked to learn this. It is called the Barm. BARM.
Really?
Yes.
Now how did this evolve? How did this?
I have no idea what the history behind this is. But apparently it is called the Barm.
Scotty?
Yeah.
I need some research done, Scotty.
Right. Yeah.
All
right. This one might be easy for you because we should know what this is, right?
Oh, good. So I have no idea.
But this also has an official name.
All right.
It's the little white thing on top of the pizza called.
You know what?
What?
Oh, I used to know this because I'd nail people in trivia on it.
Yeah.
That was years ago when I used to sit in bars and play trivia. So I'm going to call it the little mini pizza table that prevents the pizza from getting.
Okay, so there are 2 names here. It is either the pizza saver or the pizza tent.
No, there's a technical term.
So the technical term is pizza tent.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But people refer to it as the pizza saver.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, either or. I
Right.
get it.
Okay.
Kind of like pizza tent, but there's an actual name for that device. Like besides pizza tent,
Okay.
it's a just a one word name. I
Okay.
can't remember what it.
I all my research led to pizza tent.
Well, no, I like pizza tent better, to be honest.
Okay.
It makes it feel like it's just you and the pizza.
Yeah. Now, I guarantee this last one you won't get. Cuz
Challenge accepted.
I had to Google this, and apparently that this was a term that was in use, but has since been squashed from all existence.
Okay.
Okay. So there's yesterday, there's today, and there's tomorrow. What is the term for the day after tomorrow?
Hold on, I'm adding it up.
Yeah, he's calculating in his mind. It's like a beautiful mind. All the equations are popping
I
up.
was gonna say there's letters floating around.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, there's a dog.
Yeah. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Good boy. Yeah. I want a treat. I want a treat.
Yeah.
Yesterday,
What
day, tomorrow.
is the day after tomorrow officially called?
Yes, tomorrow.
You got half of it right.
What,
Morrow is still part of the word.
after tomorrow.
Closer.
Dog morrow.
No.
Okay, well then there's the dog. The dog goes away now.
Not under.
Overmorrow.
Overmorrow.
Nailed it.
Is the technical term for day after tomorrow. So if I ever say I will talk to you on the overmorrow,
I'm gonna go. What?
first, call my wife to make sure I'm okay. Second, I will be speaking to you today after tomorrow.
just to make sure there's no time lapse or
Right. Yeah.
I've gone into the quantum realm.
Yeah.
Oh, you're in
I
the
will-
overmorrow. Well, yeah, but quantum realm sounds cooler.
Speak to you on the overmorrow.
Oh, overmorrow.
You need to say it like that. Yes.
Everything is ever recorded. Dinosaurs were out in the overmorrow is what it is.
Talking in the overmorrow.
Right, yeah. That just sounds ridiculous. I like quantum realm.
No, sure. Yeah.
I mean,
Overmorrow seems a little too like Old
Shakespeare.
English,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Oh, what in land overmorrow lurks beyond today? Oh, you mean the day after tomorrow? No, I speak of overmorrow.
The overmorrow.
Yeah, nobody wants to. Bruh. Yeah, seriously. All right. Well, no, those are very interesting. Those were great little facts there, research team.
Yeah. Okay. Now,
Oh, there's more.
when was the pizza saver invented?
19 odd 75.
Oh, you're so close.
Seriously,
1974.
dude.
It is
But
a year older than me.
75.
Yeah.
So, wow, that was pretty good for
That was really good.
guy. I am telling you, there is an actual one-word name for those things that I swear I used. Oh.
So apparently it was originally called the Seppi.
Okay.
Where the Seppi, because a gentleman from Argentina was the one who invented it.
Mhm.
And it was the separador da pizza. Okay. But
I like Seppi.
he called it the Seppi.
The
The Giuseppe. We put the Giuseppe on there, right? And
That's
then it devolved when it came to America.
Right?
And became the pizza saver or package saver or where else? What does it say here? Yeah, it's a pizza table, they call it sometimes.
Yeah.
But I like it Giuseppe. They call it
Giuseppe.
Let's call it Giuseppe.
Or pizza table.
Right.
Or tant.
Yeah.
Tant. It's just you and the pizza.
It's just Giuseppe.
Tant. You like it. You're having too much fun with Seppi now.
I am. Well, because you have to say it with an accent.
But you said Argentinian, right?
Yeah, I know, and I know I'm doing an Italian accent, but it's Giuseppe. Come on.
I was like, you're so far away from Italy and
No, 100%.
I mean,
but
it's
still,
a Latin-based language, I guess.
Ish. It's
That's a Giuseppe.
It's a Giuseppe.
It's the pepperoni, huh?
Ah.
Yeah, you ain't got manja.
Oh, come on.
Well.
Just to take a Giuseppe off and then enjoy your pizza.
Tom, we need you back.
Yeah.
We're delving into pizza topping saver things. All right. So what do we got going on? I guess we're done.
I guess we're done. That's it. We got the incredible, the informative, the very funny. Got Wood coming up.
We got Scott Wood. Mr. Punchline is what they like to call him, or what he likes to call himself. But he is going to be on the show next week, and very, very excited. Great comedian. Again, and he also has a book out there that you can get for free that helps you write comedy or helps you with public speaking. We've got kind of a theme with
wow.
Yeah, Scott's it's out there now. He was just talking about it. I'm sure he'll be talking about it on the show. So make sure you check him out. He will be here next week. Same Iron Bat times. Interweb. Wherever you watch or follow
or listen
to us. So we've got Scott Wood coming up next week. The week after that, we don't got a show. And then after that, we just landed this actor James Dumont. And James is he's in a lot of things. You guys you'll see his picture and you'll be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So many different movies. And
so it's so funny. I unknowingly watched a movie with him in it the day before you told me he was going to be on the show.
Jurassic World.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he's a great guy, a lot of fun. Very excited to have him on, and me and him are the same age.
Oh, all right.
So
once again, I'm the youngest person in the room.
Old bros, bro. Old bros. Anyway, check him out next week. Scott Wood, Mr. Punchline, will be here with us. And until then, I guess it's time for us to depart. So be good, kids. Take care of each other. We're all we got out there. And I promise you, we got to be good, right? So
yeah,
let's do it. And we will see you in, basically, what is 7 days from now? What's hours wise? How many hours?
The over morrow?
No, over morrow.
No, so 7 times 6, or no, not 7 times 6. I don't know where I'm going. 6 times 24.
And on that note,
24.